I'm going to demonstrate how to fillet partially a whole fish so it can be tied back up without the center bone inside of it, using a little bit of butcher's twine and rubbing a little bit of oil, salt, pepper, and some herbs into it. And this is connected to a recipe that is on the website. First thing you want to do is ask your butcher to scale it, because that's not the fun part. So this fish has already been scaled once, but then the next thing, if you do have any of the fin still attached, you can use a pair of sturdy scissors and just cut that off. It's much safer than trying to use a knife, because the knife is a little bit irregular in where it ends up. So I just take that off, and anywhere else if you want to snip it you can. We're going to take that off with a knife, but a pair of scissors can trim it up. If you want a little less tail on there, trim that up for cosmetic reasons, you can take that off. But then we move into using a knife to kind of just get down to the center and take the head off. You could certainly buy the fish without the head on. That would be fine also. It really depends on where you get it. I bought this from the farmer's market this morning. So they were selling it for a great price, and I couldn't help but to get one. So then you have what is the whole fish, minus the head, minus most of the tail. So now the tricky part is actually to get to the bone of the fish. So I'm looking for that center bone there and trying to place my knife right on top of it. And what I can do is hear it touching the bone. So I'm going to take it down, but I don't want to take it all the way, because remember, we're going to tie this fish back up again. So that's what makes this technique a little bit unique. So you leave a little bit of the bone in there, and then we take that back. You can see how it's been filleted open. And then you do the same thing on the other side. Again, just wanting to take that center bone out of there. Again, this recipe is the fish is browned and then braised with garlic and onions and a little bit of white wine, a little bit of fresh herbs, the natural juice. And some of the benefits of leaving the bone in there is that it keeps it moist and adds flavor to it. This is a little more elegant. You're going to probably find whoever you're dining with a little more receptive to having a fish that's been at least partly boned. So that bone should just snap or cut right out of there, and like that. So that one comes off too. And then if you want to, you can go back in and take some of the belly bone out of there, the side bone. That's not completely essential, because you start losing some of the fish also. Notice that I have this on a towel, so that makes it a little more steady in the hand. Meaning the fish won't move around quite as much, and you might not lower the risk factor of slipping with the knife. So that's about the best you can do. It's open like this, and then at this point, as you have it, might as well go ahead and do a little internal seasoning for the fish. So again, a little salt, a little fresh cracked pepper on the fish like that. You might want to baste it with just a touch of olive oil. And then if you have available some fresh herbs, they can just be almost left in the whole form. I have a little bit of fresh thyme here. I will press a little bit of that into the flesh of the rock cod, and then if you just have, I'm going to grab a whole tarragon sprig here and just kind of lay the whole tarragon just right in there as a flavoring agent. You could do lemon, fennel seed, many things can be added to it. Again, your flavor choice. Now the fish looks like it did before, almost, except it's a little bit loose, so you couldn't cook it this way. You could brown it this way, but then it would start to rivel apart. So for control, a little bit of butcher's twine, standard kitchen butcher's twine. I usually get a little bit more than I actually need to do this, so I have a little bit extra, and then we tuck underneath the fish and go back to the tail. And this is where we start, just a basic straight knot. And we won't knot again. So this is always looks easier than it seems. This is kind of a little bit of a brain twister when you do this, because I'm making a loop. So I get it nice and tight. That's very important. I make a loop with my hands, bring it up to the top head portion of the fish, and then bring it down and tighten it up again. And this process just repeats itself, making sure it's nice and tight every time you go, all the way to the top of the fish. And then if you want some insurance on that, you can always double loop it back into, and I think when I turn it over, what I normally go is every other strand of twine there to tighten it up. Get back to the end piece here, and we're going to tie it up right at the tail point. And this isn't something that butchers will do, so if it's a trick you want to try at home, then you buy the fish whole, get the bone out of there. You can always use that for stock, perfectly fine. But here we have a whole rock cod filled with tarragon, thyme, olive oil, salt, pepper, and then tied up. And now it's what we call pan ready. So it's ready to cook and follow the recipe, and actually dry roast it over a wood grill, perfectly fine. Just squeeze some lemon on it. But it's a great technique, high quality fish, better price point, and get to do it yourself.